Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Out of Spec Guide. I'm Max, and you join me today with a friend of Out of Spec, fellow content creator and business owner, Ryan from the Kilowatts. Hello.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Going well. Thanks for being on tonight, Ryan. So you are, a Tesla enthusiast, a general electric vehicle enthusiast. You test driving assistance systems. You do all kinds of cool stuff on X, on YouTube. But I want to talk tonight about the Cybertruck situation. So Cybertruck, there's always news to talk about. The latest being basically that the flipping provision we talked about on this channel earlier has been removed from the contract for current Cybertruck. So that's a big deal for people buying Cybertrucks. But before we get into that, first off, let's get into your situation, Ryan. You have a few, I believe, reservations for Cybertruck already, right?
Yes, yeah, that's becoming like a thing that people talk about. But yeah, I've got 54 reservations. As you're
Yeah.
seeing there, 54 refundable reservations, but 54 nonetheless.
Yes. Good thing they're refundable just to give that flexibility, but $100, not the end of the world. And so, that's exciting for you, but of course, we'll get into how you plan to use that for your business potentially. Let's, though, talk about what's going on, Ryan. So, Tesla a few days ago added a clause to the generic buying contract for people buying any Tesla with a Cybertruck note saying, oh, if you try to basically resell this within the first year, you could be sued $50,000.
Yeah, and obviously, I think a number of people saw and already know about my 50 plus reservations, and were like, "Hey, by the way, you can't flip them anymore." I'm like, that was never my
You
intent.
okay, bro? Yeah.
Yeah. No, people were like, "Oh man, you made such a mistake putting your $5,000 into Tesla's coffers for 4 years." Like that's never been my plan. My plan has always been share EVs. I mean, if you follow me from the kilowatts, it's all about getting people excited about getting butts in seats. And
Yeah.
if I was to try to hoard 50 Cybertrucks and sell them at a markup, that's not aligned with kind of what I'm trying to do here. So sure, maybe there was a world in which I could have made a quick buck, but that's never been my goal. My goal has always been how do I get people excited about EVs? That's what I've been doing with the kilowatts. That's what I am going to be doing more of with Dispatch.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. We got to talk about dispatch. But first off, my reflections here are like this is just good news in general for, I think, the market, because the market is going to sort out whatever may happen with Cybertrucks. People are already finding ways to get around this clause and this provision. It's very hard to enforce. Other like luxury brands who have done it, or boutique companies like Ferrari and then Ford with the GT, like those situations have basically been like, to get those cars in the first place or reserve them, you got to know someone, your name might be taken off their books forever, or they might personally sue you. For Tesla to sue like owners en masse doing this with Cybertruck just seemed to me kind of like a futile effort. And like you were saying, that's not what people like you were going to do in the first place anyhow. You had like different things in mind. So it just seemed like a weirdly targeted thing. It didn't seem like in the best interest of owners or honestly Tesla or anybody.
I I struggle because I'm somewhere in between on that. Like in a way, I'm glad. Like again, just because I wasn't planning on being a flipper doesn't mean that like both that like I'm torn because I think like yeah, reselling is something that like builds hype and builds excitement, but it also can build resentment and frustration. And so like in a way, this $50,000 thing, which I don't think we covered yet, that like first of all they removed it. It was in the general contract. It wasn't in
Mm-hmm.
the Tesla Cybertruck contract, so they could bring it
Yeah,
back.
what? Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
and I'm torn on whether or not this was like inherently a good or bad thing because in a way it created like a strike price that if you've only ever bought one Tesla or your own this is the last Tesla you're ever going to buy, then okay, now you sell it for 51,000 more than you bought it for. Now you're making a profit again. So I'm torn on it. It's interesting that they named the specific price. It's interesting that they removed it. I think there's parts of it that like the ethos of it is good. Let's try to limit scalpers.
Yeah.
But I also think that yeah, is it really something that needs to be there? At least in this way, probably not.
Yeah, nominally, I think intentions could be seen here as like being in the right place for people who just want to own the truck and get it at a fair price. But I think regardless, if anyone wanted to get Cybertruck, availability was going to be super limited. I don't think Tesla was gonna like they're a company for profit. They're not in the position of making sure everyone early gets a Cybertruck for the price that they promised. I mean, we don't even know what the price of these configurations of Cybertruck will be as is. There's so many unknowns still. And like you said, Ryan, they could add it back into the contract. But the last few months and actually years since Cybertruck Reservation. There's been so much hype around it. You've been on X showing all kinds of differences, like between prototypes, new hubcaps, like things going on. There are basically all kinds of iterations we've seen. It's just exciting to follow this stuff if you're an enthusiast of it. I know Cybertruck polarizes people. Like I myself am kind of horrified by the design, but also intrigued by it. And so it's just cool to see people like you just get so excited about it and be able to follow it because you're in the Bay Area, obviously. So you're able to be pretty close to the action as that develops.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was going to happen. I mean, first of all, I'm wearing my like Cybertruck themed dispatch shirt after some of the early wraps. I wasn't sure if we were going to see a lot of these little changes here in California anymore. Like I kind of, in a way, got to see a lot of the Model S3 XY
Yeah.
being designed, rolled out, but I wasn't sure we'd see that with Cybertruck because it's being manufactured in Texas. But I've been
Yeah.
very lucky that the engineering hub is still here in California. So that's in the first prototypes with some crazy wraps. My guess is to hide some of the imperfections, to work with the metal a little bit more. But
Mhm.
now I also think they're like leaning into it because it's a cool thing to customize your truck.
Yeah. The launch is imminent too. So, like, a lot of these details really do have to be finalized pretty shortly. Are you going to be at the delivery event in Austin?
I've decided to go out there either way. At the time of this recording, by the time that you post this in 15 minutes, who knows what could happen.
Yeah.
I think if you scroll down just a little bit more, it says that invites are supposed to go out the week of the 6th. So the week of the 6th, I decided I'm going to be out there. I decided my small engineering team at Dispatch is going to be out there just because, our early customers are going to be the kind of people who will be out there. Our early investors, we're still, a young startup. They're going to be the kind of people that
Yeah.
are out there. So it's the right time, right place. And to be honest, as again, we're tying a lot of our design, a lot of our launch plan to Cybertruck. We know that a lot of people's first experience with a Cybertruck might not be driving it as they own it. It might be driving someone else's. And obviously we hope to
Yeah.
be the one facilitating that. So dispatch it makes sense for us to be there.
Yeah. And we've teased that. Let's talk about it now. What actually is dispatch?
Yeah. So dispatch is just simply the peer-to-peer car sharing network for EVs. We're leaning into all the modern features available, the APIs available to us with EVs that are always on, always connected to the internet. So we're going to be able to tell you if you're running late to return the car. We're going to be able to know what the charge state was at the end of your trip and at the start of your trip and at the end of your trip. We're just going to create a more premium experience, one that the way that we, our slogan says, it's your car even when it's not your car. So everything from Tesla's phone key to helping you find the car to paying for supercharging, it's going to be much more seamless than anything else there on the market. And we're currently building it. Again, I've got this small team of engineers, and we're hoping to launch right around the turn of the year,
Yeah.
just with insurance and finalizing some of we have to make sure that it works at scale. But we're
Yep.
really happy with where we're at. We're excited to kind of show it off.
That's really cool. People can join a waitlist if they're interested in, I'm assuming, launching limited scale in the Bay Area at first, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, the Bay Area will be one of the markets that we launch in, but the
Mhm.
goal, I mean, simply put, when you travel, like, Bay Area people might want to rent trucks or EVs broadly when they
Yeah.
go to Jackson Hole or when they go to Florida or New York or LA.
Yeah.
So
So,
it's
like
really about,
Turo, it could be a platform that could work anywhere.
yeah, the idea is we want both hosts and guests. So it's important for us to think very much about how to kind of bring both of those up at the same rate. So, we don't have hosts that don't have guests, and we don't have guests that don't have cars. But yeah, the plan is to launch both simultaneously in targeted markets and expand to additional markets as quickly as we possibly can. So that way, yeah, if you yourself, Max, are flying from Denver to go to Texas, that you can rent a dispatch when you're there.
Nice. And that's really great for people like me who are EV nerds or people who have experience with Teslas and who are frustrated or have been frustrated with existing experiences from Hertz or Turo or other services, let alone if you need to get support. I think that can kind of be a nightmare with them because oftentimes their employees aren't even that familiar with the vehicles and their access to them is limited. I mean, Hertz just rolled out Tesla phone key basic functionality, but I think what you're going to be able to do here with this boutique at the moment Tesla focused solution, but EV-centric solution is just offer something that's a much better travel tool for EV enthusiasts to get that experience they're used to at home when they're on the go.
It's very much more, I mean, this is the experience that people had with Tesla. The reason why Tesla succeeded wasn't just because they had a good car, but because they had to succeed on EVs.
Yeah.
Hertz doesn't like, they've got a great brand name for it, but they don't yet see that they leaning full in on EVs is necessarily what's going to cause them to be successful. And for us, I think we just, build an
Yeah.
EV first. You make it better as a result. And
Hmm.
with better experiences comes more return customers, comes happier customers. So it's just a matter of, we're leaning hard into it in the same way that Tesla did. We're putting our whole business on it. And as a result, people are going to have better experiences. We're going to learn a lot more quickly and change and iterate and improve much more quickly.
That's cool. Well, I respect the specialized approach towards that. And of course, Cybertruck being one of the early vehicles on there, if you can offer your own fleet of those as a host, I'm sure will also be a great kind of way to publicize it. Cybertruck launch in general, right? Everyone is looking forward to actually seeing them on the road, not prototypes, but like rolling production units. And like you were teasing at earlier, this could be the first way people do experience Cybertruck, which might be a great way to kind of just stimulate early interest in that.
That's exactly what we're trying to build here. So yeah, I'm excited
Yeah.
about it. I'm excited for people to try it, Cybertruck and Dispatch, and it's a fun time in the EV space for sure.
Yeah, no shortage of stuff going on with all of those. And I'm sure you yourself are very busy, like you said, getting the liability, getting all of these things sorted out, in addition to the engineering complexity of launching a service like this. So let us know in the comments, your thoughts about this service. If you want to sign up for the waitlist, you can. I just thought it'd be cool to shout out what you're working on. And thank you again for joining me to talk about Cybertruck tonight. There's like no shortage of updates here, always going on with new specs, new things Tesla adds to the contract or removes from the contract, as we've covered. But I'm sure there will be more news before launch.
I'm sure I'll talk to you soon then.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good night, Ryan. And thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thanks, Max.